You are now listening to the most impactful podcast in the dog world, where we bring you massive value and insight to some of the greatest dog minds today. Our mission is to help dog owners extend the life of their dogs through nutrition, fitness, and education, so you can give your dog a higher quality of life and build a better bond. Whether you're an everyday dog owner, train canine athletes, or own a dog business, we're here to level you up. It's time for you and your dog to become certified true beasts. Is the day, we finally
What's going on?
Finally making this happen, man. I'm so fucking stoked about this shit. Everybody out there on Facebook or YouTube, feel free to share this. Are they able to share this?
Yeah, they should be able to share it like a regular live on Facebook.
Yeah, share this, and if you have questions, we're trying to figure out this new platform. And I guess we can see the chat over here, right?
Yeah, it should be. You should be able to see it on the right hand side over there.
There we go. This is all new to us, but we're really excited because we really wanted to bring you some entertainment and really take our podcast to the next level. And without a doubt, we're doing it right now. So I'm super stoked about this. Yes, we will be doing a bunch of giveaways, and there's going to be all types of incentives to sharing this and just showing us love and stuff like that. So Jonathan, Russ, thank you so much, man, for showing us love. We appreciate that. But we're going to do a little housekeeping here, and so kind of give you some insight on what you can expect. So this is what we call the True Beast podcast, just the True Beast podcast. It's just going to be me and Zach, and what you can find from these episodes is massive value. So for example, we're going to be, sharing our current experiences and life experiences, how we actually can level you up as a business, whether you're a kennel, a trainer, you own a pet related business, just life shit in general, man. Because Zach's been through the ringer, I've been through the ringer, and I think, just having Zach in my network and circle, he's brought so much value to my life, and I know he can bring a lot of value to you guys as well. And so, but other than that, man, how was your week so far?
It's been busy, man, transitioning. I got a lot going on. But you know me, I stay grinding, I stay getting it. I don't let that be an excuse. It's kind of like sometimes I don't understand why people ask for so much on their plate, but then when they get it, they fucking bitch about it.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all.
You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, I need more work. I need more this. I need more that. And then they get it and they're like, oh, bro, I'm fucking busy. I don't know what I'm going to do. So
yeah,
I try not to complain about it.
That falls a lot under perspective. With us, we eliminated, or we trimmed a lot of fat over here at X-Dog, and
yeah.
It put a lot more on my plate, put a lot more on our customer service staff's plate and stuff like that. And sometimes it is a pressure cooker, but that's, that's why it's so important to have these systems in place. And you made a big move this week, right? You made a pretty big move this week. You went ahead and took a leap of faith, is what I would call it, right? It's a scary leap of faith. I've been there.
Yeah, for sure.
How's the experience been so far?
Overwhelming in a sense, but it's like it's new territory, it's new, you know what I'm saying? So it's not overwhelming in the sense of the work, it's just overwhelming in the sense of it's all new. So it's like just trying to figure it out, get a motion for it, get a system for it. And you know how it goes when you start a marketing campaign or you start doing work with somebody, like things need to be a certain way. You got to find this niche, you got to find this element of what everybody likes to where you eliminate the back and forth. So it's like we're in that process now of like learning each other, learning what they're looking for, what I can do, so it's just a process of back and forth right now.
Well, we really wanted to talk about in this episode is the, things that what we like to do is kind of take things that we learn from dog ownership and see how it translates over to us on the human side, right? And a lot of the things that we talk about, every morning, it seems like, is, doing the work comes before the reward. And when you think about when it comes to dogs, right, a lot of problematic issues that most dog owners have with dogs is that they're constantly rewarding or marking the dog, right, and with bad behaviors instead of making them work for it. But let's just say a 3 to 5 minute obedience training session in the morning or before feeding time, on a consistent basis and making the dog work, it really completely changes the whole concept of the relationship between the man and or the person and the dog.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, the reward. So like a lot of people think that just because they have a treat that the dog's supposed to come or he's supposed to sit or he's supposed to listen, it's like once you abuse it and it's just like you're constantly giving that reward for no work, eventually you're going to run into that time where you're like, hey, I got treats and he's not listening, because
Yeah.
eventually the dog's just going to be like, well, there's no significance to the reward and I don't really want nothing to eat, so I'm just going to stop listening to you right now.
You know what's interesting? I don't know if you've noticed this, but I notice when I make my dogs actually work for the reward, it seems so much. It's like the value goes so much higher for them. So, for example, if I just set the
Yeah.
bowl, we'll kind of look around and think about it, make sure. But if I'm making them, hey, sit down, stay, place, cage, then I
Yeah.
put the food down. It's like, oh shit, let's
Yeah.
go rub, and that reward tends to go up.
So yeah, I know what you mean, because we've been doing things lately like instead of, our dogs get fed in the crate, so instead of putting them in there, taking their bowl out and shutting the door, we've been working with them to give them that stimulation to make them stay inside the crate. If they step out, it's no, back in the crate. And then just that work session of 10, 15 minutes while I'm preparing their food, and it's like they're so anxious, they want to come out, but then I correct them and make them get back in. And now
Yeah,
they're starting to learn that, okay, I'm gonna get this food, but I have to stay inside the crate. The longer I keep coming out, the more chances of me not getting this food is. So yeah, and then like you said, once they've done their job, their energy, their reaction to the treat is way more over. You know what I'm saying? They're just
yeah.
super excited to have it, as opposed, like you said, like if I just slide the bowl on the ground, I think their first reaction is to make sure that it's not a troublesome situation, right? They're like, is this a setup? You know what I'm saying?
And so it's interesting, man. We again we talk about it all the time where a lot of people, especially now, man, with technology being the way it is,
Mm-hmm.
and how fast things, people, I know, man, being a business owner, it's really, really hard. I've had a very challenging time finding the right people, right?
Yeah.
And because a lot of people, what I've experienced, a lot of individuals always felt like they deserve more before they actually put the work in. And I don't know, you listen to Andy and shit a lot too, and I do. And one of the things he's kind of been talking about lately is that it's not about how much time you've been somewhere. It's how
Yeah.
well you can execute in the moment, right? And,
Yeah.
and time, and that at any time someone can come in, and let's say if somebody's been with you for 5 years, they get a little bit lazy, and then somebody comes in here and in 6 months just is constantly fucking grinding and executing at the highest level. Next thing you know, man, that time means nothing.
Yeah. I mean, and it's also like where I hear a lot of successful people that I pay attention to. They always say things like, it only really, like, if you can't function at the top of your ability in a chaotic or confusing, just mush of a situation,
Yeah,
then you're not going. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to be able to work in that chaotic situation, which I think that falls to what you're saying is like the time. Like, it doesn't really matter until it's that time, right? Like, you can do everything to try and prepare, but what are you going to do if this falls through? Like, how many loopholes do you have to go through a day just to get an order out sometimes, and it's unplanned shit.
yeah. The pressure, man. Like diamonds can only be formed under pressure, and it
Yeah.
seems there's very few diamonds, and there's a lot more diamonds out there now than anything.
Um. So it's like, when you say the work comes before the reward, it also, like you said, it transfers over into life too, because a lot of people like to, like, for instance, with my situation, a lot of people see me or reaping the benefits, and they're like, oh, he's moving, he's out, but they don't realize though, bro, this is 15, 20 years in the making. Like, you
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? I've been teaching myself how to do marketing and designs for, almost over 2 decades. So it's
yeah.
like, it took that much time for me to be able to reach these corporate brands and these corporate businesses and the people with these extreme budgets past what I've been normally working for. And it's like, it's a good feeling, but what people don't realize is, like, so much work came before that reward, right? Like I said, it's 15 years in the making.
Well, since I've known you, the few times that you have actually showcased. So for people who don't know, Zach owns a marketing and graphics design company, and he brings value. Like our relationship seems to work really well and seamlessly because I want my products to improve, and I like to improve products. And Zach, that's what he does. He takes products and helps companies improve their product and brand. And so our ecosystem works well. The value that he brings versus the value I bring to him. It's an even. It's a very high. I wouldn't say even exchange, but a high value exchange for both of us. And so it works well. But what Zach has been doing lately is before I even brought him on, he started sending me work, just showcasing work, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So basically, the work came before the reward, which is our
Yeah.
relationship. Which now
Yeah.
in turn, it's like I've also seen you do it with hockey teams. Now I've seen you're taking your approach with certain registries in the dog community,
Yeah.
and the system works, man. Like, and a lot of people feel like they, especially like it's kind of like a catch-22 when you talk about people who are, who have studs, right? Like, you want to see my
Hmm.
stud, you got to pay me type shit now. Where the reality is that you have to work your way to get to that point. But in the beginning, you got to get out there and showcase your stud or showcase your training methods or and shit like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You got to build that platform first, right? Like, I mean, if nobody knows or nobody even knows who you are, then how are they going to know to come to you for a service? So, and then it's like you said, the catch-22. Like a lot of times, you hear people like that tell you you need to DM 100 people today, and you need to tell them this is what you do. And it's like I understand his strategy of what he's trying to say because basically what he's saying is there's going to be opportunity in repetition. So if even if it's the same person, right? Like if I come to you 10 times a day, eventually you're gonna be like, yeah, okay, cool, I got you, right?
Yeah,
um but I took his approach as far as reaching out to people that can benefit and elevate my brand, or I can add my service to benefit them. And it wasn't like I kind of I've had people inbox me. I've had designers hit me up with the, oh, let me do some free work for you, and it's aggravating. You don't want that, right? And it's like
yeah,
9 times out of 10 when they do that shit, the work doesn't speak for itself, right? So therefore, I took Gary Vee's strategy of being like, message these people, somebody's gonna say yeah, but
yeah,
then I flipped it and I brought the value, like you said. Like instead of just hitting you up saying, hey, let me do some free work, why don't you go investigate this brand, research this brand, do some work, put it together, package it, and send it over and be like, hey, this is
yeah.
what I can do, this is what I can offer, this is what I'm willing to do for y'all. And like you said, it's a strategy that I've seen results from. It's helped me leveled up. And at the end of the day, though, here's the thing. It's only going to work if the product or the service or whatever it is that you're trying to pitch to somebody is worth being pitched.
Yeah, you remember I had hit you up this week, and I was like, these motherfuckers just like my count started. I started getting like hundreds of follows, right? But
Yeah.
the follows were organic, and it really pissed me off because like the individuals, like, hey, I noticed that you didn't didn't respond to my last message where I could help you grow your Instagram. And so what I did is I went ahead and took the initiative and did that, and it really pissed me off because my notifications were going like bananas, right, on the new
Yeah.
follow. And I ended up gaining like, I don't know, 400 or 500 followers. And I was like, Zach, how do I stop this shit? I can't. He's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I blocked them, and it was like they said, "Oh, you want to block me? Let me fucking put the fuel on the gas." So I unblocked him. I said, "Hey, man, just please, can you not do this anymore?" And it was kind of crazy because my shit jumped up like 400 or 500 new followers, and then it again, people are like, "I don't even know this motherfucker." So
Yeah.
like I lost like a
Yeah.
few hundred, a few hundred followers as well. And so it didn't help me at all. And that's where it's like that's where the negative side comes in. Taking initiative where taking initiative goes wrong. I was like, your sales approach was fucked up. And I deal with that shit all the time, man, where it's like I get calls every single, I mean, hundreds of calls every single day where I'm so programmed right now on how to deal with loan people who try to give you loans and shit all the time, right?
Yeah.
In business. And
Yeah.
I know how to approach them now. It's just, but in a case like yours, you know, you're taking product and brand. What you did for me is you just took some graphics and just started doing some graphics with our products. And it was, again, it had to be impressive work because if it was shitty work, I wasn't gonna fuck with it.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you have to know, man. Like, it, and like I said, it's 15 years in the making. I couldn't hit you up. Shit, I couldn't hit you up 3 years ago,
Yeah,
right? Like the work's always been nice, but it's always been an elevation to it. Like, I've never settled, and I think a lot of people get wrapped up in the time that they spend on shit, right? They're like, hey, oh, I spent so much time on this, that they're removing the fact that it doesn't look like what you're supposed to like. if your work doesn't look like a Coca-Cola ad, or if it doesn't look like a Pepsi brand or Nike commercial, or you know what I'm saying, if your work isn't designed to look as good as that, then it's not worth it. And a lot of the times I feel like designers get wrapped up in how much time it takes them. Like they're involved in the emotional of, oh, it took hours to make this. This is super tight. And it's like,
Yeah.
not really. You know what I'm saying? It's not really that tight.
Yeah, it's just an interesting.
Um,
I found I was listening to a topic today because I follow a lot of like health individuals on certain platforms and shit, and it kind of brought me back to like the nutrient creatine or the supplement creatine, right? Like
yeah.
20 years ago was frowned upon. Like there was always a misconception on it where
Mm-hmm.
it was like it'll dehydrate your dog. And I took more. I invest. Me, I like to go down rabbit holes and investigate a little bit more thorough than
Yeah.
most people. And so I was like, well, the National Animal Supplement Council says it's an actual muscle building. It's like one of the only recognized muscle building nutrients. So I added incorporated into some of our products, our muscle builders and our performance products, and it's probably the most renowned studied supplement and the most studied supplement on the planet. But in our industry, and in the health industry. But what's interesting is that 20 years ago it was frowned upon. Like we don't use any dangerous new ingredients like
Yeah.
creatine. The next thing you know, 10 years later, it's starting to get a little bit of traction. Well, it's good for muscle, and I took a deep dive into it, and I was like, well, if it dehydrated dogs, the science behind it doesn't make sense because it actually floods the muscle with water, right? Which in
Yeah.
turn reduces lactic acid buildup and also gives muscle leverage, which then makes the muscle stronger, so your dog's able to work longer. And
Yeah.
because dogs were able to retain water more, dogs bulked up, right? Like a dog would literally, who someone would think was underweight, could literally, by taking some creatine or take our products, would sustain. I could almost guess it like 5% of its body weight. Like, so if a dog was 50 pounds, I could pretty much guarantee that dog owner was going to get between 52 and a half to 53 pounds, right? It was just going to sustain that. So they were just mind blown by it. But the interesting thing about it now is today it's known as a health supplement.
Yeah.
The cognitive support, heart health, neurological support, bone density support. But it had to do the work, right? It took 20 years
Yeah.
of
Study.
study,
Yeah.
a major university concept, to the point now where it's like, if you're older, like I take 5,000 milligrams every single day,
Yeah.
minimum.
Well, it's like you were saying. Like I remember when we were in school when we played sports and everybody was starting to work out and lift, and it's like the guys that were saying stuff like, "Oh, I'm taking creatine," or you know what I'm saying? It was such a taboo thing. Like it was almost saying. It was almost like you were saying you took steroids, and a lot of oh man, Joe's now he's taking creatine, right? And it was such a weird thing. But like now, like you said, like I know people that take it that don't even work out, and like you said, they use it for brain function, they use it for clarity, like this energy of source that they use, and it my boy hitting them reaction buttons. And it takes that though. I mean, it's even the same thing with dog food. Like 20 years ago, there was nobody in the world saying that dog food was a bad thing, right? Like it was just, everybody was on Oroy or whatever the case may be. And now it's like there's so much study, there's so much research to where it's like we all know at the end of the day, no matter what brand you choose, you're still taking a risk feeding dog food.
Yeah, it's interesting, man, because you're right. 10, 20 years ago, like people would have frowned upon supplements, and you like turn your bag around. Like your bag is full of supplements, right? And it's interesting now how the industry has changed. I mean, you went from, if you were feeding, you remember back in the day, it was like if you fed your dog beef, it's getting blood, and there's no fucking even. There's no blood in meat, right? The red shit is myoglobin, which is just a protein. And but people thought that if you fed your dog raw meat, that
your dog was going crazy.
But at the end of the day, now you fucking go on TikTok and you're just like, it's almost like they're trying to go the extra mile to be extra crazy, right? Like I'm giving my dog brains and fucking beef testicles and different types of crazy organs and balut and fucking silky chicken, and which is just black chicken, right? But it's like they're trying to go super viral crazy on how crazy they can get and how on their creativity when it comes to certain things that they want to give their dogs now.
Yeah.
But it took years, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
he had
like you said, you got to put the work in before you get the reward, and it, nothing. It's like I tell you the same thing about the best, and it's like you created this culture to where people are so in tune with it, and it's almost like a Jordan drop because every time they know that every time a new version comes out, you've sat back and you've listened to everything that everybody said. You've took everything that you noticed yourself and you've reconstructed. You've made better. You found better material. You is to put the work in to make the reward better at the end of the day. And
yeah,
a lot of people remove that part. They want to like I've never met somebody that like when you tell me that somebody might hit you up and be like, oh, I got a product, I got this and that, and show me how to. Can you just tap me into your people? Like, who's your people? And you're like, well, look, I could do all that for you, and I could give you the fucking recipe and walk you in the room, but it's gonna eliminate that journey of what you need to learn to get to the point to where I'm at, right?
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like most people don't do that, and you're one person I know that would rather be like, look, I can do that, but I'd rather show you the journey, and so you can learn this shit yourself
You're almost doing the
and put
person
the
a disjustice. It's kind of like me setting this shit up here, man. Like it literally took, fucking FaceTiming you and getting Brendan in here to today. Like I actually set all this shit up. I started fixing the sound and everything. I was like, oh fuck, I did this shit, right?
yeah, yeah.
Now I'm like, it was
It
so much,
feels even better.
it was
Yeah.
so better, right? And it was interesting today too because I had talked to somebody. Somebody hit us up on our software, which is a lead generation, and they were asking, what size, X Dog vest they needed. But we end up getting into this conversation where they originally had the V1s, but they're like, yeah, it impeded movement. And I was like, well, that's interesting because, when we watch the dogs on treadmills or on normal gait, when they have the X Dog vest on, even with the V1s, it seemed like they had an exaggerated gait, which means that they overextended their strides, right? Which in turns condition the
Mm-hmm.
muscles to overextend. So when you take the vest off, they have these conditioned muscles that are usually that are conditioned to over stride or have an exaggerated gait, which in turns we kind of had this theory. Well, maybe that's why every fucking dog that used X Dog vest that competed in a measurable sport like Fast Cat, not only were just blowing away their personal performance records, but we had to think of, I think we have almost like 10 different breeds that have breed speed records, right? But it
Yeah.
took a long time. But I was like, well, but here's the thing, I had to listen to that debate was so important because it evolved the vest to the point where I was like, okay, how can we put that debate to rest and then also improve the product, which was the resistance bands that go across the back shoulder. And
Yeah.
so, and that was the thing that brought them back. They're like, yeah, that's what actually brought me back because I felt like it did restrict movement. But when you guys
Mm-hmm.
came up with a solution for it, and I've noticed a lot of people who are in our community who are doing like, I forget what it's called. It's like aqua splash, where the dog jumps in the water and races in the water all the way to the end of the pool, grabs the toy, and then brings it back. Right?
Yeah.
They do a lot of training like that, and they also do dog diving and Fast Cat. And they're like, we have multiple friends who are using the vest, and their dogs took significant jumps in performances, whether the dogs were increasing their jumping distance or increasing their time and recovery capabilities and the speed. And the
Yeah.
one thing that they were asking, they're like, well, what did you do to change? Because we train together all the time. They're like, man, we're training an X Dog vest.
Yeah.
And it just gives competitors and dogs in general in life a competitive edge. If your dog is not exercising daily, or if it is exercising daily, right? Once you start incorporating more resistance into their everyday lifestyle, it gives the dog a competitive edge on life. And so that's what I focused on, man. Like I really wanted to focus on, just come out with a fucking super quality product in an industry where they're always looking to cut corners, whether it's
Yeah.
dog supplements, dog treats. It seems like it's a very, very small and niche community where they're like trying to make really, really, really good products or great products or exceptional products without trying to cut
Mm-hmm.
corners. So
Yeah.
um,
If
that's
you're
dope.
just not tuning in, man, we appreciate everybody. This is the True Beast Podcast. I'm Zach Valentine. That's my man Stan Smith, CEO, owner of X Dog. And this is episode 70. The work comes before the reward.
Yeah, if you guys are
Um,
too, right? Like, we can see you in the chats over here. It says, here's a question. We can answer some of these questions for you. And again, this is all new to us. We're going to be throwing all types of different commercials and exciting new things. And me and Zach are going to be shooting X Dog University probably starting maybe next week because we got this new software and stuff. And we'll be doing tutorials and shit like that during these episodes as well. So
Yeah,
sorry for tuning in. Go ahead and hit this up. But here's a
super
question
dope.
right here. At what age is best to start a bully with the X Dog vest? So it doesn't matter if it's a bully. It doesn't matter what breed it is. You can start any dog on the X Dog vest at any age. Now, I don't tell anybody to do that. I usually recommend waiting until they're at least 12 months because all X Dog vests start out empty. Like they're empty, right? They're just
Yeah,
basically about
yeah,
1% of the dog's body weight, it's just like wearing a normal harness. However, your dog's going to grow out of it. And so I always say just wait, wait to make the investment around 12 months. Now, when you're talking about adding weights, small breed dogs, you want to start incorporating weights between 12 and 15 months. Medium breed
hmm
dogs between 15, depends on the breed, but about 15 to 18 months. And then large breed dogs between 15 to 24 months. If you want to be sure, just go get some x-rays. Just make sure your dog's growth plates are fully developed and that you follow the instructions. The instructions that
yeah,
we have are 8 weeks and 10-week programs. We have one called high velocity training, which is any type of training that includes sprint work, jumping, agility type stuff. And then we have low impact movement, which is anything where you have like control of the movement, like obedience training or leash walks, stuff like that. And they have certain percentages that we recommend on the high velocity training. We don't recommend going over 5 or 6% of your dog's body weight and conditioning them up over 8 week period. Now on a dog that is doing like low impact movement, you can go up to 10%. However, we do have experienced dog trainers who do things differently. So, for example, when it comes to like a behavior modification, right? I've seen,
hmm
you know, people at the dog psychology center or trainers, they'll take the vest and they'll take a dog who's never worn it and they'll load that thing up to 10% and then, put the weights in different locations on the vest so it's off balance. And as soon as they throw that vest on the dog, the next thing you know, the dog is like focused on trying to balance and it's not being reactive or having certain type of behavior issues. But those are experienced dog trainers, So we have
yeah,
basic rule of thumbs, and we're going to be exploring all that through X Dog University. Hopefully, that answered any questions for you, Tosha.
yeah. That's what I try. And one thing I always try to tell people too, man, is always kind of warm your dog up when you're
Yeah,
starting to use the vest. Don't just think, okay, I can just take this ball, put this vest on, and just chunk it out there as far as I can. Put the vest on, especially if you're first now, if it's the first time you're adding weight to it, right? Like add your
yeah,
weight in there and just kind of walk around for a little bit, get the dog used to it. Make your curves and your turns, and don't just think that it's gonna put the vest on, and be able to go out and run, and that's 9 times out of 10. That's how you're gonna injure your dog, right? Because your dog's not used to it. It's something it's got to get used to, like Stan said. You might have one or two more BBs on one side or the other, and it's just get them
yeah.
warmed up, get them used to, break them into a full fucking workout in the vest.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, definitely get your dog. One thing I like to do is just throw the vest on, let the dogs wear it around inside, walk around, right? Just walking
Yeah.
around. Or I take them outside and let them do some playing and warming up and moving around before I throw the vest on them. So, you got to know your dog, man. Like, some people got mouths, man, and those fucking mouths or border collies are, they're pretty active dogs and active breeds. And
Yeah.
if you throw, a loaded vest, they've never worn it, their muscles aren't conditioned correctly. Now, our programs are designed to condition your dog's muscles correctly because for the longest time, that was one of the other theories that people thought. Uh, they would say, yeah, it's hard on joints. When the reality is, it's actually really great on joints. It improves joint health and longevity. And people are like, well, I don't get that. How does it help with joints? And I'm like, well, you got to think about it. Conditioned muscles, a better conditioned dog or conditioned muscles. Harvard University has done studies on these specific areas, and conditioned muscles reduce pressure on joints, ligaments, and tendons. So basically, it takes away a lot of the workload from the joints or what you're asking out of the joints. Secondly,
hmm
exercise, weight training, resistance training, they all produce synovial fluid, and synovial fluid is what keeps joints lubricated and so that's why when you have dogs that get older, they get stiff or they get achy. It's because they're not exercising, they're not working out, and because they don't have the synovial fluid, they're they're going to feel achy, they're going to feel stiff. So that's why exercising, especially with weight training and resistance training, is extremely important to produce synovial fluid. And last but not least, all joints, ligaments, and tendons are surrounded by connective tissues like stabilizer muscles and fixator muscles. And those
Hmm.
fixator muscles are very important because they act as a protection brace over those joints, ligaments, and tendons. And so by conditioning them correctly, what ends up happening is that you reduce the risk of injury. So we've had I would say at least 100+ dogs who had an injury in some type of dog sport that started training the X Dog Vest, came back, performed at much higher levels, just
Yeah.
ran faster. They could stop on a dime. They were doing things at such higher levels, and this was after an injury. And so it let us know that it's just like humans. Like you're going to want to weight train as you get older. Dogs' muscles deteriorate just like humans do, and as we age, it's a very important, that whole theory of you don't use it, you lose it. Ain't talking. It's talking about muscles
Yeah.
too, especially muscles,
Well, yeah,
especially.
like you said, I don't mean to cut you off, but I mean, just think about if somebody gets injured, right? Like if an athlete like tears a hamstring or anything like that, they're gonna go through the recovery stage, but then once they're done, what's one of the things that the doctors are gonna
Strength training.
recommend?
Strength training.
Right, that, and they're going to send you to rehabilitation, and 9 times out of 10 that's going to be a lot of resistance stuff, a lot of going
Yep.
up in stairs, a lot of fucking treadmill work, um
Stabilizers where you're
yeah,
just
just a lot of balancing and using core muscles to where you're helping your body break down and reproduce better muscle cells and shit.
yeah.
and then
That's
and then like you said, a lot of times athletes that do get injured that go through rehabilitation, they usually come out and they're advanced where they were before because of what they just went through.
yeah.
Your body's always going to break itself down and rebuild. It's just like when you cut yourself. Like, you ever just thought about like a simple cut, like you just put a band-aid on it and then all of a sudden 2 weeks later it's fucking closed up. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like, to me, that's the most incredible shit ever, but we take that type of stuff for granted.
Yeah. It's
um
it's it's definitely
so so when let's see, the work becomes before the reward. A
that
lot of
goes for everything
times,
in life, right?
yeah, no, it really does.
I
That's what I
mean,
was fixing to ask you. Like,
relationships,
yeah,
fucking,
true.
uh, huh? Yeah, relationships. Like you got to put in work in your relationships. Your body, like
Yeah.
like you can't just get fucking. You can't just go in there and expect to get shredded if you're not doing the work and being consistent. It's just everything in life,
Yeah.
man. Your employment, your career, just about everything in life, you have to put into work. I don't know why people try to avoid the work so much because I don't know. Honestly, I think it's fun. Like I think that is like
Yeah,
I don't
that's
ever see
the
myself
yeah.
retiring, right? Like I don't look at myself and go, "Damn, I'm gonna retire from what I'm doing." I don't know if
Yeah.
you think that, but like I know I don't
No.
think that. I don't think you think that either.
No, I mean, it's like, especially when you find, so it's like, just think about it. How long ago was it when you started the X Dog Vest?
X Dog Vest was 5 years, but dog supplements when I actually got in the industry was 20 years ago, 2003.
Right? And along that journey, there's probably been times where you were like, I just want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm ready to
All the
just,
time.
but yeah, right. But then there's that new idea, that new creation, that new thing, the new goal to reach that makes you want to level up. And it's like, in my position, it's like, I never thought, as big as a sports fan as I am, as athletic as I've always been, I played sports my entire life. It never dawned on me to take my talent as far as a designer or a marketer and go towards sports, right? But now that
Yeah,
I'm there, it's like, man, like, I had this sense of feeling like when I was at the game, it was just like, bro, like, this is insane. Like, it's just, I'm wherever I
I
want to
don't.
be, wherever I want to go to get the shot. Like, nobody's bothering me, and I'm just in my element, right? And it's
Yes,
like,
it
damn, I
is.
could probably do this shit the rest of my life.
You're in the music industry, right? And I was in the music industry, and it's really
Yeah,
hard to brand yourself. But the effort of trying to brand yourself, you take that same concept and try to brand something else. Like for us, it's like we try to take the dog and turn the dog into a superstar, right? It's so much
yeah,
easier, right, for you to go
yeah,
in and here. Let me take this person, this athlete in your case, and like, hey, let me highlight the shit out of them and put this graphic. Let's make a highlight reel on them and shit like that, and they're just like blown
yeah.
away.
Yeah, and that's, it's super dope. The reward for that, to me, is super dope because a lot of these kids that I'll be working with are are on their way to try to be professionals, right? So like this is the start for them, and it's like everything that I present to the world that contains to them is gonna, in my mind, help benefit their reward. So it's like, just imagine if you're the top basketball player in the world, but your highlight reel dude is the shittiest person, you know what I'm saying, in his department, and it's like you're just not getting that good footage or that good quality look that you need. And to me,
I see it all the time in AAU basketball. Like there's some basketball players who didn't play any AAU, right? And they're just great high school basketball players, right? And they're like,
yeah,
why is this kid being recruited? And like the next thing you know, he goes to like a camp and it's just like blowing people out the water. These 5-star athletes,
yeah,
and they're just like, what the fuck? Who is this kid? Um,
yeah,
but like again, too, like you said, like it took so long. Now people are like, damn, X Dog doesn't miss, they hit. But yeah, it took 20 years to start hitting. So like when
yeah,
I came out with these products over here, like the Fit Collar or the non-slip lead, this was a product of multiple mistakes, like countless
yeah,
amount of mistakes before I decided I
yeah.
was, before I, okay, I know how to get the sensory acuity from the market. I'll do a post on a prototype. If I get a crazy buzz on it and a bunch of messages and inboxes, I'm like, oh, this is a great
Yeah,
product.
it's
This
a
is a
go.
product you
Yeah.
want.
Well, I mean, and it trips me out too because I can go right now to PetSmart and I can find 5 different brands of 5 different harnesses that hasn't made any improvements, hasn't made any changes, maybe put out a different color or somewhat, and there's still people that will religiously go and buy it for
Yeah.
$59.99 and not bitch about it, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to you've taken what you have from the first one to now to the 3.5. There's been so many changes, and it's not. That's the thing. Like it's not just stuff that you thought about. It's like you see. That's what people don't understand is when y'all comment and you're like, "Hey, this did this or this should be that." Like he takes all of that and puts it on the board, and he's like, "Okay, team, we got to figure this shit out, right?" And to me, that's what keeps you around for so long now. 5 years in a run, and you're the top vest in the world, the world's greatest dog harness, is because you're not just trying to get a dollar. You're the type of
Yeah.
person that wants to be able to give people the best that they can give them, right?
And also presentation, right? Which means I had to come
Yeah,
out and find individuals like yourself to say, hey, how do we present this product? Because having
yeah.
just a great product is just having a fucking great product, right? But if no one can
Well, I
see your
mean,
great product, don't mean shit.
like I said, all the other harnesses that I know of don't come in a box. Don't come with a fucking travel water bowl. Don't come with a bag. Don't come
Yeah.
with stickers and Velcro straps to decorate your vest. Like it comes on a clothes hanger that hangs on the shelf at
Yeah.
PetSmart. You know what I'm saying? And it's probably the shittiest material. If you really did any type of strenuous work or your dog was bigger than you and pulled you with the lead, it's probably gonna rip. So it's like it just trips me out that there's
Well,
companies that can strive on just putting out the basic shit, but
yeah.
then when there's brands like you that put in so much work to make it's such a quality product, people seem to go even further to try to tear it down.
Yeah. And it's going to take a little bit longer. I mean, when you look at why do those products do so well is because the marketing, right? Petco,
Yeah,
PetSmart, Walmart, like they do exceptional marketing. And so,
yeah,
our next step is, Walmart Marketplace. People are like, well, why would you go on Walmart Marketplace? Because it's just similar to Amazon. It's
yeah,
it's a monster, and you know, where you are, it's kind of like, it's kind of like what Alex Hermosi talked about when it came to Tesla, right? He said most companies start out with a product and then they increase to the next level and next level, which is what I kind of did. But he goes with Tesla, Elon put out this fucking top 9 product and then created a mid grade product, then created a low grade product, right, for everybody.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
that's eventually what we plan on doing because we do have a market of people who maybe can only afford a $60, $70 vest compared to $180 vest, at
yeah.
some point, or $200 vest, which
Or
that's fine.
or maybe just even captivating the fact that some people don't want to work their dog. Some people just want to be able to put a harness on and be a part of the brand itself alone. So maybe just a vest that doesn't come with the zippers, with the weight pockets and the resistance and all that. You know what I'm saying? More just like the same material. Because at the end of the day, like I said, the material that comes on the vest, there's nothing else like it. Like you can't go to the store and buy a harness that's made like these vests are made, bro. Like period. I don't care what you find. You can go spend $200 on Amazon and it's still going to be some cheap material that you're more than likely going to get pissed off about. But that's the work that comes with the reward, and that's what I tell you all the time. That's what it intrigues me the most because it's like Jordan drops. It's like when the Air Max comes out. It's like when the new NMDs drop. Like I'm like, oh, what's next? Okay,
Yeah,
there was a gray one and a blue one next time, but there wasn't a pink one. Like maybe there, you know what I'm saying? So like, it just creates this culture. But at the end of the day, every vest is better than the last one.
it has to be. I mean, I got some things
Yeah,
I want to do. It's kind of interesting because like the more I talk to people every day now, as far as when it comes to just everybody who places an order on Shopify, I pick up the phone and reach out to them. And the more I talk to them, the more we speak. It's a lot of it has to do with health, but man, we're getting a lot of people who are using it for anxiety and behavior issues, it's mental health, and
yeah, yeah,
that's the thing that's kind of been intriguing in the way this thing has evolved. So, I mean, and just look right here, man, like our podcast right here now, like we figured out a way to improve this. Like you and I, man, we've been at this for a while. We've been wanting to
yeah.
launch this, and I'm
It's
excited
like
about this.
3 months in the making.
Yeah, this is episode 70, but I can't wait till episode 170 where we got guests set up,
Yeah,
and we got our commercials running through this, and this the whole thing is going to be a fucking crazy show. Like
yeah,
we're here to entertain. Like we want this to be a crazy fucking amazing show, and so if you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask us too, man. Like, being able to do live calls and put shit on the fucking screen to where we can actually, showcase the live giveaways, or we can talk
yeah.
about, topics of discussion, or we break down, we get Muscle Bully moved, the Muscle Bully episodes moved over here, and we start breaking down dogs and shit like that, it's going to be fucking dope, man.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, that's the thing though. Like, we could have just settled for being on Instagram and been like, "Oh, it is what it is," and bitched and complained about the audio. But as us always trying to present the best that we can present, whether it's just a personal thing or a brand endeavor, it's like, to me that matters the most. Like, I feel like if I don't want to put anything into the brand that I'm trying to sell you, then what the fuck do you want to pitch in for? What do you want to be a part of this for if I'm just cutting corners,
Well,
right?
it's kind of a leap of faith for us too, right? Because we're used to having, sometimes up to 400 people on our fucking lives, right, on Instagram, depending on
Yeah,
yes, 100, 200 people. But then we're come over here and maybe we only got like 8 people, right, or 10 people or 20 people listening. We
yeah.
knew that was going to happen at first until we start building the consistency. So we have to put in the work. We're gonna fucking put in the work, and we're gonna outwork everybody.
Yeah. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like, subscribe, and follow buttons for us. If you tuned in on YouTube, man, we appreciate it. Facebook, we appreciate y'all tapping in. Like Stan was saying, we're trying some new stuff. We moved off a platform. We're usually on Instagram, but as we were saying, the quality wasn't there. The audio wasn't as best as it could be. The presentation wasn't there. And we felt like we needed to put more work in so we could reap more of the reward.
Yeah, and on Buzzsprout, man, we're in the top 50, and so we want to
Yeah,
get
that says a lot.
yeah. The next step is top 10, and then number one. Like I want to see where we're at by the end of the year. They continue to push us, and I feel like with this too, man, we can actually with our community, we'll be able to do like email blasts, text blasts, and shit like that, and we'll get this thing growing, and I see like with certain segments already with what you're doing. What's interesting is my mind's already running on like certain segments of the episode where we can be really consistent on live giveaways, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be fucking dope.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing, man. I'm always striving for the next. It's in my mind. I always want to bring that wow factor, and it's just like
Yeah,
you should too. No matter what you're doing in life, no matter if it's, you should always be wanting to bring the best to the table, because when you bring the best work, you're gonna get the best reward. Period.
yeah,
No champion ever says, "I wish I wouldn't have worked as hard" when they got their fucking title. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
No winner, no Michael Jordan, no Kobe Bryant, no Steph Curry was like, "Well, I wish I didn't have to practice as much." You know what I'm saying? I wish I didn't have to work as hard to get this. It's like, nah, man. If you want the best in life, if you want better for yourself, you just gotta put the work in, man. And that goes like what Stan said. It goes with everything. It goes with training your dog. It goes with training yourself. It goes with your mental, your relationship. Like, just put that work in and make sure it's going the way it's supposed to be going. And that way you can't blame nobody else
Yeah.
because you put the work in.
Well, man, let's close this segment out, man. We play. I mean, with this new platform, we're going to be shooting more episodes too. So I know we're at least going to have our Muscle Bully episode and our True Beast episodes, but I think we might be adding an additional episode, which will be the X Dog University episodes that me and Zach will be shooting as well, because we want to definitely educate you as much as possible. Again, here at X Dog, our mission is to eliminate obesity and help dog owners extend the life of their dogs through fitness, nutrition, and education. And we want to bring on some valuable guests too. And so we got some ideas on bringing on some guests. If you guys have any guests, message us, and we'll get our email and website set up too as well, where you guys can message us there as well, because I think that's going to be important.
Yeah, what we'll try to do is get like a question submission email to where they can send their questions to the email, and then we'll have them ready. We'll pick a few, but it's also dope too, because like I said, like they got the chat over here. So if you are watching, just know we're streaming to Facebook and YouTube at the same time. If you post a comment, we can see it. We can post them on the screen, and we are trying to interact the best that we can.
Yeah.
So bro, I think it was a dope test run. I think we got all the kinks worked out finally. And we appreciate everybody tuning in, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, Team X Dog Strong.
You are now listening to the most impactful podcast in the dog world, where we bring you massive value and insight to some of the greatest dog minds today. Our mission is to help dog owners extend the life of their dogs through nutrition, fitness, and education, so you can give your dog a higher quality of life and build a better bond. Whether you're an everyday dog owner, train canine athletes, or own a dog business, we're here to level you up. It's time for you and your dog to become certified True Beasts.